I'll just pause it right here and just letting you know that this video is non-stop. I'm not stopping it throughout the whole thing. So yeah, it might be a bit awkward. It might be unusual that I'm just going from the whole video without pausing and playing it, but that's what I'm doing. Moving into 14th, I've got Essendon. Ben Mackay coming in. It's the highest paid player in AFL now. I think he's heavily overrated. I want him to prove me wrong. Essendon, obviously, last year, very strong start, but they fell away later in the year. And I think I can't see them, being a finals team this year or getting near the finals. There's so many teams who could finish from 6th to 16th. There's so many teams pushing for the finals. I don't see Essendon making the finals at the moment. 13th position, I'm going for Geelong. This is about where they finished last year. And yeah, they're old now. So many teams trying to push for the finals. Geelong could finish top 4, top 5, 6, or they could finish bottom 4. And for me, it's going to be probably a long year for them. 12th position, who's jumping up the ladder quite a lot, I've got the Hawthorn Hawks. John Newcomb, top 10 player this year, probably. Will Day becoming a very good player as well. They're 3 or 4 years into their rebuild now, and they could finish top 8 if they really, really give it a crack. A bit like Adelaide last year, potentially finishing top 8. But I think anywhere from 10th to 13th, 14th would be whereabouts I'll put Hawthorn. 11th spot, Gold Coast Suns. They could finish top 8 potentially with Hardwick at the coach. Haven't made finals before. I'd love them to make finals, but I don't quite think they will be there yet this year. They've lost a couple of players, and I think they're going to improve this year for sure from last year. Probably finish anywhere from 10th to 12th, but yeah, I've got them in 11th. 10th position for me is Melbourne. It's a huge drop off. Top 4 the last 4 or 5 years. Everyone's expecting them to chop off. Are Melbourne going to live up to their expectations and be an average team this year, or can they defy the odds and actually be a top 4 team? It's going to be really interesting to see. And 9th position for me, just missing out on the finals, I've got St Kilda. St Kilda, a hard team to get my head around. They could finish close to top 4. They could finish, close to bottom 4. Each year they just surprise you somehow. Either they're so good or they're so bad. I don't think they're going to be that crappy this year. They're going to be an average team. You got a couple of young, great players coming through. Obviously, their defense is probably the best in the comp, arguably. Obviously, you got Crozier back there, who's coming from the Bulldogs. You got Cal Wilkie, you got Sinclair, and obviously Nas Wanganeen Miller, who will be a top 10 defender this year in the AFL. I think, the Saints have a great defense. They just need to have a bit more strength in that forward line. If Max King, Higgins, Membry, if they can all have outstanding years, they definitely can be a top 8 team. I could see them finishing close to 4th, but there's so many teams near that top 8, it's really hard to see where they're going to finish. So, with that, we are going to our top 8. Finishing 8th on ladder, just scraping into the finals, is the Western Bulldogs. I'm a Bulldogs fan. Could be biased here. Hit me out in the comments what you think. But yeah, I think the Bulldogs, they've been training really hard this year, and obviously every team has been. But, they've got Nick Schofield is in, James Harms, Rory Lobbs into his second year now, Jermaine Jones into his second year. I think they're going to have a great year. Bailey Smith out for the whole year. That's a huge injury for us, even though that he hasn't been great last year. That's a huge injury for us. If he can get back to his 2021 form when he comes back, we'll be a hugely different team. I think our midfield's one of the best in the game. Obviously, you got Bontempelli, the captain, Jack McRae, Adam Chalor, Tom Liberatore, and there's just a few of them. So I think also our forward line, Norton, Sean Darcy in there. Hopefully this year he'll produce Rory Lobb, Cody Waitman, Hugo Hagen. Really good forward line as well with Bulldogs. They've got the list to be a premiership contender in the top 4, but their inconsistency over the last few years is just astounding. So I think 8th spot is a safe spot for them. I think realistically they're probably going to finish anywhere from 7th to 13th, to be honest. 7th position, I'm going with the GWS Giants. I think the Giants this year probably going to be a top 8 team. They could finish top 4. I think they're overhyped. A lot of people putting them top 4, top 2, even top of the ladder. They're a very young team. Adam Kingsley, a very good coach. Should have got the coach of the year last year. But they're just such a good team, the Giants. It's just so hard to see them missing out in the finals. And 7th position could be a little bit low, potentially, but for me, I think that's probably a good spot for them. They're just such an exciting team to watch, and they've become one of my favourite teams to watch over the years, for sure. 6th position, I'm going with the Adelaide Crows. I think Adelaide are probably slightly overrated. You do see a lot of professional AFL people and commentators and YouTubers putting the Adelaide Crows, top 4. But I think 6th to 12th is probably where they're going to finish, to be honest. What they've got to get right this year, so for sure, in my opinion, is their winning away from home. That certainly wasn't up to scratch last year, only winning 2 games, I believe, away from home, which is poor, very poor, and it was against Hawthorn and West Coast, so nothing to rave on about. I think their forward line this year is looking really good. Darcy Fogarty, Taylor Walker, Rochelle, Rankin, Riley Thilthor, of course, with that injury in the practice match. I really hope that he can get out of the injury and, be really good for them. If that goes to plan, they could be a top 4 team for sure. 5th position for me now, just missing out on the top 4, is Port Adelaide. They've been up around the top 4 since 2020, apart from 2022, when they had a bad year. But apart from that, they've been up around the top 4, and I think they're going to be up around the top 4 again. They could finish top 2, top 4, but obviously Travis Boak retiring now, and Tom Jonas isn't the captain anymore, so I think it's going to be a lot of weight on Connor Rose's shoulders, and I'm not sure if he'll have quite the year we expect him with the captaincy. He might find it a bit more pressurised, but obviously you got Rosie, you got Butters, you got Horn Francis, Dan Houston can do it as well in that midfield. They just look so good. William Drew, they've got a very good midfield, one of the best in the competition. I can say that for sure. So moving into the top 4 now, in 4th position is the Collingwood Magpies. Won the premiership last year. No bad, haven't lost anyone. They have lost a couple of people in the draft. Taylor Adams to the Swans. And somebody else, Jack Ginnivan to the Hawks. I don't think that's not my reason why they're 4th, but they're 2 very good players for Collingwood. I just feel Collingwood this year might have a premiership hangover. You do see teams, after they win the premiership, they don't often finish top or second again. So it's going to be very interesting to see where Collingwood finish. They could finish top, or they could finish 3rd, 4th, 5th. For me, I think they'll finish 4th. Now, moving on to my 3rd position, I'm going with the Navy Blues. Carlton. I've got high hopes for Carlton this year. Obviously, their first half of the year last year was very crap, but since that around 13, 14, 15 mark, they really put the foot to the throat and became a very good team, and I think they certainly will be up around there this year. And I just feel like, even though they may have had a poor practice match against Melbourne, I really think Carlton can, be a premiership contender this year for sure. Moving to second position, I'm going the Sydney Swans. Average first half of the year last year, then just made the finals. I think they finished 8th. But yeah, for me, I think the Swans are going to finish top 4, and I've got them in second position. You got Taylor Adams from the Pies come in. You got Brodie Grundy from Melbourne. He'll be a great ruckman, and you also got James Jordan as well from Melbourne. So they're very good 3 plays there, and I think their SCG might become a fortress for them, and they're going to be very hard to be stopped, I think. And I think they're going to be the premiership window certainly is this year. Top of the ladder, if you've been following, is the Brisbane Lions. I really feel like the Lions this year, it feels like their premiership window might be closing if they don't get a shuffle on. They've been up around the top 4 the last 5 or 6 years now, and they're really going to win a premiership. They've missed out years and years in a row, and I feel like 2024 will be their year, so I really hope it is. I really think it can be. So moving on now to the awards. This isn't an award, but for Mark of the Year, going with Cody Waitman. He's had some great screamers over the last few years. I really think he can pull down a good hanger. Goal of the Year, I'm going to Bobby Hill. Great player for Collingwood. He's had some very good goals over the years, so I think he's going to be a very good player. Bloody hell, excuse me. Rising Star, I'm going to go with, you guessed it, Riley Sanders from the Western Bulldogs, averaging 30 disposals in the VFL. Great 30 disposals game against the Hawks in the practice match. Love having him socks up. Great. But anyway, yeah, I think he's really, really strong. And honourable mention, obviously, Harley Reid. He certainly can win it if he has a good year. Going now for Coleman medal, I feel like Bontempelli. It's his year, Marcus Bontempelli. He's missed out. He's finished second, I think, 3 times or something. So he's certainly been unlucky. He should have won it last year. So I reckon he'll get it this year. Charlie Curnow for the Coleman medal as well. I reckon he's going to go back to back to back, which is, I don't know if it's ever happened. It probably has, Dunstall's probably done it, or Tony Lockett, I'm sure, has done it. But it's very, very unusual. My runners-up is Collingwood. I think Collingwood, they're going to be great. I may put them 4th on the ladder, but they're going to be really, really good, the Pies, and I reckon they'll make the grand final. I think they're going to just fall short. At the Premiers, I have got the Brisbane Lions. I mean, they're just such a well-branded team. Obviously, I said their premiership window, it feels like it might be closing soon if they don't get it right, and I feel like they're prime this year. So that's my ladder predictions, guys. Please, I'd really appreciate it if you did a thumbs up and subscribe. There's going to be weekly content coming out, hopefully. And drop a comment as well of your predictions and what you thought of my first video that isn't as short. And until we see you again, have a good one.